Wuthering Heights starts at the end, in 1801, when a southern gentleman, Lockwood, calls upon his landlord and solitary neighbour, Heathcliff. The old farmhouse, Wuthering Heights, sits isolated and exposed to all elements of wind and weather, in sharp contrast to the comfortable, well-appointed Thrushcross Grange, where Lockwood has come to recover from an unsuccessful love affair. Confused by the household he finds at Wuthering Heights on his first visit, he is drawn back. Trapped by a snowstorm and obliged to stay the night, he finds a sequence of names: Catherine Earnshaw, Catherine Heathcliff, Catherine Linton, scratched into the paint of the windowsill. When he falls into uneasy sleep, his dreams are haunted by the ghost of Cathy, trying to get in at the window. In one of the most violent scenes in the novel, Lockwood drags her white wrist across the broken glass to force her to let him go. Heathcliff, distraught and wild and desperate, into the chamber. This is the brilliant framing device that whets the reader's appetite and sets the narrative in motion. When Lockwood returns to Thrushcross Grange the following morning, his head full of questions, he persuades the housekeeper, Ellen, Nellie Dean, to tell him the story of Heathcliff and Catherine Earnshaw, explain the connection between the two houses and families going back a generation. Nellie speaks of the dirty, ragged, black-haired child brought into the Earnshaw household and given the name Heathcliff, of the 6-year-old Cathy and her jealous, bullying brother Hindley, of the growing affection between Cathy and Heathcliff, and of the very different household of Edgar Linton and his sister Isabella at Thrushcross Grange. The fragment of dialogue from Chapter 9 between Cathy and Nellie Dean quoted above, and which gives our collection its title, is at the heart of the novel. For Wuthering Heights is not a love story as we know it, or certainly as Victorian readers might have considered it, but rather a novel about the nature of love, of what happens when love is thwarted, or distorted, or traduced, of what happens when like and unalike come together. Cathy is thinking aloud, imagining herself married to either Edgar or to Heathcliff, in the same way she once scratched the 3 different names, the versions of herself, on the painted sill of her window at Wuthering Heights. Heathcliff overhears only the first part of her statement, that it would degrade her to marry him, and storms away devastated. So does not hear the second and most fundamental part of what Cathy believes. He does not hear her say, "Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same." He does not hear her say that she loves him. Heathcliff is gone for years, and, when he returns a wealthy man, is governed by revenge rather than love. He has killed the best part of himself, the part of himself that is Cathy. Tenderness is gone, leaving only cold self-interest. He finds Cathy married to Edgar Linton, and, in spite, marries Isabella. The first part of Wuthering Heights ends with the death of Cathy, having given birth to a daughter, and Heathcliff's grief at losing her forever. The story of the second generation, the children of Heathcliff and Cathy, is less well known, and, in adaptations, often ignored altogether. But it is what gives the novel its unity, its balance. Heathcliff mourns Cathy, yet plots against her daughter. It is not until he abandons hate and only love remains that they can be reconciled. Finally, the line between the living and the dead is blurred, and all that remains is peace. It is left to Nellie Dean, when Lockwood returns to Yorkshire in 1802, to recount the story of Heathcliff's recent death and bring the novel to a close. The final words are given, as are the first, to the outside narrator, Lockwood, as he looks down upon the 3 headstones on the slope next the moor. Cathy's is grey and half buried in heath. Edgar Linton's is only harmonised by the turf and moss creeping up its foot. Heathcliff's is still bare. So, what makes Wuthering Heights, published the year before Emily Brontës' own death, the powerful